Dating. The spark that you first meet someone, the excitement when you first meet someone does not mean that they're your soulmate. Because I don't think you should join the church to look for a spouse. I don't think we have to complicate dating really at all if we can just get our nervous system and our personality, our two biggest cards, like I said before, under control.
Online dating, fitness, boundaries, ghosting, cheating, therapy, childhood, confidence, fame, trauma. Hi, my name is Mindy, and I have a microphone, and I want to talk about some of these things. So let's talk about
Welcome back to Mindy and the Mic from Stigma to Connection. And I am a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Nebraska. I'm excited to talk about a topic today that everyone, in my opinion, likes to talk about and is kind of, we'll say, a little bit obsessed about. And maybe I'm speaking for myself because I used to be obsessed about this topic when I was in my early 20s and even in high school. And that topic is dating. Dating. I want to talk about it as a therapist because I think there are so many people with so many opinions about this. There are TV shows about dating, like Bachelor in Paradise, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Love is Blind. In any case, there's a lot of media about dating, and I kind of just wanted to go through and really sit down and maybe give therapeutic recommendations about what to do in dating. Again, maybe I'm talking for myself or a past self of mine because I need to hear this. Disclaimer, I'm not giving therapy. Like, I'm not doing therapy to anyone. Maybe my past self, maybe a little Gisalt therapy, that's what we would call it. But at the same time, I am very passionate about this topic. I really like to help other people. Another thing is that even though I call myself a Christian, I'm going to make this advice pretty general. If it is something specifically with my beliefs and values, I will state it of like, hey, this is my perspective. And heads up, this might have a Christian perspective. So let's get into it. So, have you ever felt like you meet someone and you have that wow, or hey, this person is super attractive, but yet slightly scary experience? Yeah, I think we all have that. That's called the initial spark, or some people call it the cute meet. When you like see a nice girl or guy and you happen to, I don't know, somehow meet, whether it's online or whether it's in person, that's when the sparks erupt. That is what I want to talk about first, because when you date someone, you obviously have to meet someone first. I don't know how else you're going to date otherwise. Dating can be pretty scary to meet someone. Not just like the social anxiety of going on the apps or maybe meeting someone for the first time at like a volleyball game or like a friend's party. If you do decide to go out on a dating app, like meeting that first person can be really, really scary. But I want to talk about the spark trap. What that means is that spark does not equal soulmate. That's a myth. Meeting someone for the first time can be scary. Like, I don't know, it can be. But something that I want to address is that the spark that you first meet someone, the excitement when you first meet someone, does not mean that they're your soulmate. Hate to break it to you, but I think that's something that a lot of TV likes to amp up. But at the same time, I think it's true. I think that you could have initial chemistry. You can find out you have a lot in common with this person on the first date. The spark at first does not mean that they're your soulmate. A lot of people like to run with this and say, I think I've met my future husband, I met my soulmate. I should say that that might be the case. I'm not going to sit here and dictate whether you are or not on this podcast, but I just kind of want to be wary of it, just because I think some of those things are your dopamine levels skyrocketing out of the roof in your brain. Maybe there's some like cortisol stress levels there as well, meaning that you could be stressed about, oh, hey, this is a really cool person, but what if it doesn't work out? Let's talk about the neuroscience about when you first meet someone. When you first meet someone, your dopamine levels are going to be high. So when you meet someone, your dopamine levels are going to be extremely, extremely high. What that means is that they can come across as perfect. They can come across as, wow, like this is probably the best thing ever. You won't have to find anyone else. That is what your mind might be telling you. That's like the narrative that your mind may be spinning. And also the stress level may be there because dating's hard and you don't really want to find anyone else. But at the same time, we can't have that narrative in your head when you first meet someone because that's ultimately going to let you down. Having that expectation of someone being your everything or putting all your eggs in one basket in one person is a lot of risk. And technically, when you're dating someone, that is kind of what you're doing in the process of dating because you're not really married to them and you're not engaged to them, you're dating them. But when you first meet someone, if you put all of your eggs in one basket, that's a lot of eggs for them to hold, and that's a lot of expectation you're kind of setting yourself up for. You don't want to do that. Ultimately, I don't want you to get heartbroken. It's easy to get attracted to the novelty of dopamine when you first meet someone. Oh, we can go on this date, we can do this date, or we can go on this adventure, or we can go to this new place, or we could travel here. It's super easy to do that, but remember, you have those ideas and they may have completely different ideas of what that could look like. So keep that in perspective when you first meet someone. When you first meet someone, don't put the pressure on them to be your future husband, meaning that you should stay curious. This person could be my husband, but at the same time, I want to get to know them, especially after the first date. You really want to get to know what their favorite color is, what do they like to do for fun, find out if you have similar values. That's what the purpose of dating is. It's not to find a husband or to find a mate or to get engaged right away. Because sometimes, even though that is the purpose of dating, is to get married, I would say that a lot of people like to carry that away and get hyper focused on the outcome instead of being in the present. Even though you probably will have some of those thoughts of like, oh, can I see a future with this person long term? I hope that that's what you're thinking when dating. I don't want you to be super hyper focused on the outcome because I know I've done that and that actually like hurt the relationship in the whole when I tended to focus on the outcome instead of being in the present. Take it slow. Have fun. The spark doesn't have to dictate what you're going to do next. I think it's really great that you can have that chemistry with someone. I think it's really great that you can have a lot of same interests as that person, but just take it slow. Be curious, like I said before, and just be open to knowing that this person is a person and they are pretty different than you, most likely, unless you want to date a carbon copy of yourself. The second thing is be careful of dating familiarity versus compatibility. Oh, the phrase like father like daughter, or oh, this person's just like my dad, or this person's just like my mom, may not be a good thing, depending on what kind of family you grew up in. I have to say that my partner is not like my dad, and I would say that is for the best because even though I love my dad, there are things that I know that if my partner was like my dad, it wouldn't work out well. You know your family more than I do if you're listening to this, and just be cautious of that we're attracted to what's familiar more than what's compatible at times. So that kind of goes along with saying just really get the time to know this person, what draws you to them, and also ask yourself like what is familiar and maybe what's kind of not familiar but isn't bad. Just because something's not familiar doesn't mean it's wrong or it's bad. It probably just means that your brain just has to adapt to it like every other situation and new circumstance in life. Are you looking for similar communication styles, similar rhythm, similar humor, similar goals? Are you building and chasing and building the foundation of a relationship? Or are you chasing the high of something that's exciting, vulnerable, kind of maybe volatile at times? These questions are hard to know in the moment. So I'm not expecting you to have it all together and to do like a self-reflection checklist every time you go on a date. I'm just asking you to just really take the time and ponder, am I'm on the right direction when talking to this person? So I talked a lot about basically what you shouldn't do, but how do you meet new people? Honestly, number one, get yourself out there because dating will not just magically come to you or you have to execute it. So, for instance, dating apps are an option. They're not the best. And I have a podcast with my friend Amy that talks about like the burdens and talks about the negatives, downsides of dating apps, but they are a way to meet someone. I met my partner on there, and I know a lot of people who have used dating apps to find their person. I'm going to do probably another episode in more detail on the therapist recommendation side for dating apps later on. Yeah, use the dating app, set up a profile, Be confident. Take a few pictures or go back to pictures that look like you and post them and just put couple of funny prompts out there too. I have not been on a dating app for about 2 years now. It's been a hot minute, maybe a year and a half technically. It's a good way to meet people and to get yourself out there and to build that self confidence. If you have an ethical or moral dilemma with the dating app, then don't do it. Don't listen to this part. But I don't want to discredit them because they are a good catalyst to meet people. Number two, join a local club, or if you play sports, join a pickleball league or a volleyball league or a basketball league. Living in Nebraska, I live in Omaha, one of the bigger cities, and I have to say that there are pickleball leagues all the time everywhere. I've met a few younger people just doing pickleball, and I know that there's a few younger 20-year some people playing pickleball. This is a Christian perspective. Join a church, and this is really dicey because I don't think you should join the church to look for a spouse. That's just my opinion. You should not do that for the sake of just finding a husband. But if you really want to get to know more people, then join a church and join a small group specifically. Another one you can do is meet friends of friends, because maybe you have an old high school friend that moved somewhere else. And then you should ask them, hey, like, can I get to know some of your friends in your community? And that's a good way that you can meet people as well. I think one of the purposes of dating is actually to establish and build that social skill of just like putting yourself out there and making friendships first, not even just on the romantic side, but just having the boldness to say, hey, like, I'm here. I know who my identity is, and I just want to meet new people and get to know them so I can establish more friendships. And I get it. Like, I have a lot of empathy. Meeting people, especially post COVID, is hard. It takes a lot of courage, and the methods of meeting people are lower, and that's why so many people are resulting to the dating apps. But there is potential and there is possibility to meet people out there. This might be a hot take, but I believe that the girl can actually ask out the guy first, especially whether it's a dating app context or whether it's like a friendship context. If you really want to get to know someone, then just say, hey, do you want to go get coffee sometime so I can get to know you more? I think that's, it's not even like a gender role power dynamic thing. I just think that girls can do it too. And we don't have to make it weird, because I feel like we make it weird for some reason, whether you're from a religious background or whether you're not. Girls can ask out guys, and it can be fun and it can be empowering, and also it can be just simple and casual, and to just go out for coffee and just to go play a sport together. That's not a bad thing. Just clarify your intentions too, because if you mean it as a friend thing, then ask from a friend's standpoint. But if you mean it as a romantic thing, then that's not from a romantic point. People need clarity, people. First date tips when you're on the date: breathe. There's a card game I play with my boyfriend's family called Euchre, and there's the left bower and the right bower in the card game. Shout out if you know it. You're cool, because I just learned it last year. But those are your two most important cards, and same goes with this. Your nervous system and your personality are your two biggest cards in dating, meaning that your nervous system needs to be calm. And I get it. Your dopamine, your nervousness, everything, the what ifs are out there. It's just going all over. Your personality is something that you need to bring to the table, and not in the performative, like acting sense. Say, hey, this is who I am. And hey, I'm proud of who I am. And these are the values that I encompass and carry. And if one of those values is having fun, then show that. If one of those values is honesty and deep conversations, then show that. I know for me, one of my biggest values is emotional intelligence. So I noticed when people would say, I feel this or I feel that, and not even in the dating context. I'm talking about friendships too. I value that in another person because I value that in myself. So noticing those traits and noticing what you value will be super important, especially on the first date. And take notes, not like don't bring a pen and paper to the date, but just make like mental observations about what does this person really like? What are they actually talking about? What are some of the words that they're using, and why are they using them? Because words will speak to their values, especially on the first date. I would also, just a Fun recommendation, don't go to a movie for a first date. You're not really going to get to know them. If you want to spend quality time with them, that's okay. But if you go to a movie, make sure you go get ice cream afterwards or do something fun so you can talk to them and relate with them. And if you plan on dating someone, well, I guess you don't plan on dating someone, but if you know that you both have decided to go on more than one date, determine communication styles right off the bat. Meaning that if you don't like texting, then I hope you tell them that and say, hey, I'm not the biggest texter, but I would love to call sometimes, or I like to do a little check in text, but I don't like having long conversations on texting because that will actually be a big helpful tool for someone that doesn't know that you don't like texting, and people cannot read minds. Similarly, if you like texting and you like having those conversations, then bring it up. Again, people prefer clarity than reading minds because if someone tries to read your mind 10 out of 10 times, they probably won't get it. Let's review. We talked about that spark. The spark does not mean soulmate. We talked about compatibility versus familiarity, meaning that just because something is familiar doesn't mean that it's healthy. And we talked about compatibility takes time, like really getting to know someone. We also talked about do not focus on the outcome more than the process. It's easier said than done, and I can say with a matter of fact that I have 100% empathy. It's hard. Relationships are hard. People are hard. But at the same time, people are fun. People make us laugh. People bring community. People make us less lonely. I don't think we have to complicate dating really at all if we can just get our nervous system and our personality, our two biggest cards, like I said before, under control. And it's easy. It's easier to say this on a podcast than to talk to someone who's going through it, or even myself that was going through it like 5-10 years ago. Because I know what it feels like to just feel that like that edge and that urgency and the rushing to like I want to get married. I want to find someone. Something that I don't want you to do is just to lose your identity in dating either. Dating's a process, it's not a means to an end. It's definitely a season where sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And those are the times that you say, okay, I'm going to take the time to grieve it. I'm going to take the time to learn. And I'm going to take the time to say, what can I do better next time? So that was the first part of the dating series, and it's meeting someone. Like, that's literally the first part of dating is to meet someone. And I hope that it resonated with you. I hope that my advice gave some good insight. And at the same time, I hope you enjoyed listening. Some personal life updates. I'm moving offices in Omaha. So I have my own therapy office. I used to be at like the West Center Mall. Now I'm moving to downtown Omaha and I'll have a window, which I'm really excited about that. And I'll be doing some podcast episodes in my office. And so you don't have to see like my background right now because yeah, I'm just super excited to have a more organized background and a more organized space. Other updates is I passed my LI test, meaning that I can basically see more clients on insurance panels. The fun parts of healthcare. So I'm excited about that. And I'm just excited to be in summer. I love the fact that I can stay up a little bit later because the sun is out past 9. Well, maybe it sets at 9, but you know what I mean. I can stay out and just relax more and hang out with friends, etc. And I'm just trying to take it day by day. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. If you need anything from me, feel free to shoot me a message or a DM or shoot me an email. But thank you.